Hello everyone, my name is Not So Average Joe. So about a month and a half ago, Steven Crowder had one of his Change My Mind segments that didn't go too well for him.
Okay. So saying autistic or shill, define, because it's a very specific definition. You came in and just said shill. And I'm really quickly get ready to give the microphone to someone else if you don't stop doing this, because this isn't the goal of this. What's a shill?
Well, I think you're getting upset because you're losing the debate, but...
That's fair, that's fair.
So what do I think of Crowder typically? Well, I never really agreed with him on much, but I never disliked him either. His videos are usually entertaining due to his charisma, enthusiasm, and humor, and there is something to be said about that. The one thing I could say that I kind of agree with him on to at least some degree is his stance against the regressive left or social justice warriors for a better term. But I'm not as extreme as him when it comes to that. But that's just about as close as I can get to agreeing with him at all. But as I said earlier, I never disliked him until I watched this Change My Mind segment in which the topic of discussion was socialism, how evil it is. So I would like to just respond to his video and explain how he made himself look like such a hypocrite douchebag. Also, because of how long the discussion is, I'm just going to respond to the key parts that demonstrate the point I'm trying to make. So I would recommend anyone watching this that hasn't seen the discussion to go and do so, link down below.
Alright, what is your name, sir? Yusuf, nice to meet you, Steven. So I believe, let me explain my position. I believe that socialism is fundamentally evil. And I have this here, we usually don't reference this, but it's sources in case someone wants to look at them afterward, but I won't use, it's not fair for me to use them. So I believe socialism is evil. Right. You disagree. I would love to hear you change my mind.
Bullshit, Steven. You do not in any way want anyone to change your mind, and you're not even remotely open to that possibility. And this entire conversation proves that. In an attempt to make himself look far more humble than he actually is, Crowder started this entire Change My Mind series to supposedly have a discussion with people who think differently to see if he could potentially have his mind changed. But that's bullshit. He just wants to monologue to people things he believes and is not open to having his mind changed at all. If the title of these segments were accurate, it wouldn't be called Change My Mind. It would be called Stroke My Ego.
I don't agree that it's evil.
No, but we agree that that's what I'm saying. That's my position.
Yes.
Okay, so what part of my position do you disagree with? Again, the goal here is to change my mind, not score points.
Sure, it's not about scoring points, Steven. It's definitely about trying to change your mind. This entire conversation, you attempt to score points over Yusuf by doing one of the following: over-defining terms, changing topics, being rude, or talking over Yusuf before he can get one full coherent sentence out before going on a monologue himself. If you don't believe me, again, the link is down below. I'm going to jump a bit into their conversation because that's where things get fun.
We all agree on that.
Violence is part of life.
Okay, well, I don't believe there should be a part of life for someone with guns to come in if I don't pay for Timmy's health care. I just disagree with that.
If you don't pay taxes, you're going to have other forms of violence that arise spontaneously. This sort of autistic libertarian idea of, oh, you can have a non-aggression...
Stop it. He's been watching Matt Damon videos. Continue.
This idea of a non-aggression principle is just fantasy. Okay, you have to have
describe to me, you just said autistic, and yes. This was very civil until you brought that up.
Jesus fucking Christ, this is the part of the video that everyone turned on Crowder, even his own fans in the comment section. What a little fucking bitch. Yusuf didn't even call Steven autistic. He was referring to this non-aggression principle, which apparently Steven took as calling him personally autistic. So I guess in Steven's mind, it's totally okay making a sign saying socialism is evil. But if someone insults a worldview of his by calling autistic, it apparently is a personal insult and not okay. What a hypocrite. Furthermore, the real reason I think Steven got so upset is not because of the autistic comment, but the fact that this kid is clearly much more intelligent than him and is winning the debate. So he just used this autistic thing as an excuse to derail the conversation. So whether or not it's option A or B, Steven is either a hypocrite or a coward, or maybe even both. Also, for the remainder of this section of the video, notice how much he interrupts and attacks Yusuf. It's completely rude and uncivil, which is especially irritating since that is what he was accusing Yusuf of being, despite the fact that Yusuf remained calm and collect this entire discussion.
Define autistic here.
Well, it tends to be characterized by an overemphasis on logic and philosophy as opposed to reality. You know, it's very easy to argue from syllogisms and axioms and all that.
So hold on a second, I want to make sure, before you move, because what you do is you speak in these paragraphs. We need to determine what these definitions are. I think we both agree that's fair.
Fine.
Okay. So you just said that autism, if I'm not mistaken, and I would love for you to bring this up, is rooted more in philosophy and theology than facts? Than logic or reason?
Logic, syllogisms, that sort of thing.
That's what you believe is the definition of autism?
Well, because it leads you down these intellectual...
No, do you believe that's the definition of autism?
No,
no, you
I'm
don't.
using it in an informal way.
Okay, so you're using it in an insulting way.
You could say that.
Okay.
A little bit of banter.
A little bit of, yeah. Well, we don't call that friendly banter generally.
Okay.
We call that being a dick.
Yeah, him making a passive, harmless comment about an idea, not a person being autistic, is uncivil. But calling him a dick in return isn't. God damn, this is so fucking frustrating to watch. And remember, this is a guy who has made countless videos making fun of social justice warriors for being easily triggered snowflakes. But here he shows that he is absolutely no different. Good going, Steven.
So I want to go back to hopefully keeping it civil. You know, I wouldn't call you retarded. You know, I wouldn't say that you had a fight with the Clippers and the Clippers won. I wouldn't do this. Let's keep this very civil.
Oh yes, Steven, you're definitely trying to keep things civil by A, calling Yusuf a dick, and B, making fun of his haircut, which I think was what that Clippers comment meant.
We would all want, I think everyone here wants a better society, wants a better America. I don't think that you want a worse America. I hope that you don't believe I want a worse America, despite the fact that you implied I might be autistic. So maybe I don't know what's best for America. You know, autistic and such. Keep your hate speech off this campus. But
it's funny how Steven thinks when he's saying that hate speech comment, it's meant to be making fun of the social justice warriors when they say that, but he's actually just doing the same thing they do. He's getting way too triggered over a comment that wasn't even that bad. And why the fuck isn't he even over it by now? The comment was made a couple minutes before this point, and Steven implied that he wanted to move on, but clearly not, since he's still very clearly troubled by such a trivial comment. Just like the SJWs he shits on so often. How embarrassing.
I don't believe in it. I don't believe. It seems that you would agree in securing the borders. It seems that you would agree in stricter immigration laws.
I would, and it's not. You're not going to get it if you shill for the capitalists.
Well,
they're against you.
Define shill.
Here we go again. Crowder is going to get triggered by another totally trivial statement, except this one was even less insulting than the first one. Yusuf just says that if Steven wants stricter immigration laws, he can't shill for the capitalist, which is a completely fair point, and instead of just addressing the point, Steven gets all triggered again like a 4-year-old girl.
Well, if you're
I know you like to sound really intelligent by speaking in paragraphs. One thing, you've misused words several times.
Steven, you fucking asshole. Yusuf has not spoken in paragraphs one fucking time this entire discussion. But do you know who has? Take a wild guess.
You want examples of that?
I would like some examples of that.
Sure.
Because I believe, so for example, let's say, you mentioned that inequality hurts people. I would argue no, and I think that's because, again, this is more of a leftist view. I know you said you're not really liberal, but I can tell you by your worldview on economics that you do lean more left because you're seeing it as a zero-sum game. Wealthy people can't get wealthy off of the backs of poor people if they make them more poor. That's kind of, if we're going to talk about motives and attributing motives that you've done a couple of times here, if I believe if I want everyone to be wealthy,
okay,
I would necessarily, if I need a system of government that would want people to be wealthy, would require people to be wealthy. For someone who would want to control a system of government like in socialist economies, who would want to consistently talk or gain the votes of the poor, they could only be elected if people are poor.
Your level of hypocrisy and douchebaggery is almost hard to believe.
And if someone were to call you on it and be as rude as you are, you might look what you might refer to as stupid.
Oh, and the hypocrisy and douchebaggery intensifies even further. There is only one person being rude here, Steven, and it's you. Yusuf has not insulted you personally even one time and has remained calm and collect this entire discussion. You, on the other hand, have lost your temper and interrupted Yusuf many times like an asshole.
Okay. So saying autistic or shill, define, because it's a very specific definition. You came in and just said shill. And I'm really quickly get ready to give the microphone to someone else if you don't stop doing this, because this isn't the goal of this. What's a shill?
Yeah, having a discussion with someone who is more intelligent and better at debating than you, thus making you look bad, is definitely not your goal with these discussions, I agree. Your goal is to talk to people whom are either not that intelligent or at least not well prepared for debate, so you can perform better and look smarter than you actually are.
Well, I think you're getting upset because you're losing the debate, but...
That's fair, that's fair. What's a shill? No. The person losing the debate is the one who refers to the other person as autistic and a shill. That's generally a good sign.
Ugh, this is so painful to watch. I don't even see SJWs get this triggered by such petty things. And that's saying something.
So what's a shill?
I don't have the exact definition, but essentially someone who's, I guess, pushing or advancing somebody else's interests, I suppose.
For profit.
Fair enough. But a lot of these conservatives who...
Well, you're not talking to these conservatives, you're talking to me. This isn't a performance hall here. That's why we're doing this out here. This is a conversation. You're talking to me. I just said that I'm against illegal immigration. It's okay. You can look me in the eyes. I'm not mad at you. I just think it's rude. It's okay. Don't worry. I mean, we're okay. I'm used to people being rude to me. I'm sure you're probably aware of this to one degree or another.
Oh, and another SJW tactic. The false victim card. Oh, it's okay. I'm used to people being rude to me. Talk about projection. That's about all I have to respond to in this discussion. Shortly after, Steven kicks Yusuf off and proceeds to monologue to the crowd about why he was wrong without him being able to defend himself or contradict him. Crowder could not have come off as more of a hypocrite or coward here. I'm honestly shocked he even uploaded this video unless he just totally lacks in self-awareness and thought he came off like the winner of the debate and not the asshole sore loser that he actually was. I'll go on record saying even if I agreed with Steven on his position regarding socialism, I would still have made this video. People, especially ones with the size of audience that Crowder has, deserve to be called out when they behave this horribly. I'm Not So Average Joe. I'll catch you guys next time.